Principles of Management. Dear student, the following presentation is in the form of short paragraphs and bullet points, accompanied by an audio voiceover by a lecturer. The worksheets that accompany the presentation go into much more detail to help you pass with flying colours. We are here to help you achieve. Manager and leader. Now, a manager will plan, organise and coordinate. A leader is an innovator. A manager needs to make things happen, but a leader determines what these things will be. Leaders look at the bigger picture and how the business fits into the global marketplace. And managers are more concerned with the job that needs to be done now and its immediate consequences. They have the authority to make decisions about business practice, such as offering a discount. Resources a manager should identify include equipment for the task, the best people for the task, and the budget, the finances. Management by objectives, MBO, agreeing objectives, so everyone works in a way that's consistent with those objectives. You then work out strategies to help people to achieve those objectives. Delegation, assigning tasks to a subordinate. This will free up the superior to concentrate on more senior tasks and could also develop skills within the subordinate. Situational and contingency leadership, Blanchard and Hersey. Now, a situation relates to a manager's personality and behaviours, and they will vary their personality or behaviour according to any given situation. So think about, you're just about to set up a new branch of your business in a new country, and there's a threat of a war there. You may change your behaviour to match that situation, or to find a plan B for what you thought best to match the situation. You have to adapt your ability and motivation levels of your staff as well. John Adair's action-centered management model. So Adair identified 3 core responsibilities, which he then put into the form of a Venn diagram, and these are task achievement, team management, and individual management. All 3 have to be managed well. Transformational and transactional management approaches. So transformational looks at the bigger picture and how strategies will achieve the greater goals. It is very long term. Employees are pushed to aspire to greater things and to receive rewards. This approach should help to develop future leaders. Transactional is about getting the job done as smooth as possible, follow procedures, and there are incentives, normally financial incentives, to motivate employees. It's much more short term. Leadership Continuum, Tannenbaum and Schmidt. So it's a range of possible leadership styles, starting with autocratic on the left, where employees are simply told what to do, and ending with laissez-faire, free rein on the right, where employees are given the flexibility to make decisions and to be very creative. Now, between the 2 extremes, there's a continuum of styles, so there's no right or wrong. It depends on the situation, as well as the skill of the employees, the degree of self-motivation, trust, etc. As you can see from the diagram, you go from authoritarian on the left, which is tell, you move through to sell, suggest, consult, join, delegate, down to abdicate on the far right, which is laissez-faire. McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y. So Theory X is the idea that workers are lazy, dishonest, only want money, and they have to be strictly supervised. Theory Y shows more belief in workers, that they want to work hard, they can be trusted, seek job satisfaction beyond simply more money, and can therefore be left to work with minimal supervision. The main functions of management. So this includes planning, so putting things in place for the future. Organizing, so organizing teams, schedules, resources, budgets, etc. Coordinating, so working well together with other managers and other teams. Controlling the team, they're working effectively, and controlling the projects within the budget. Monitoring, so reviewing how effective things have been, what's working well, what has to be changed or worked on. So think about your plans and your deadlines. And finally, delegating, so giving tasks to the best suited subordinates to a particular task. Now, leadership is different. It's more like inspiring, okay? So communicating a long-term vision and devising strategies to achieve goals, changing the direction of the business. Energizing, being innovative and motivating other people. Influencing stakeholders to believe the business is going in the right direction. Envisioning, okay, looking to the future. So what consequences will our actions take? Okay, so use reliable information like financial forecasts or what the competition are doing. And determining the best path or best route to success. So have that vision, convey it to the managers so it becomes a reality. Okay, knowing what's working, what's not working. Look at your sales figures, productivity figures, profits, costs, market share to make an informed decision. Business culture, so the way things are done around here. Okay, so how we deal with customers, other employees, management. Okay, so are employees valued? Is there a recognition scheme such as Employee of the Month? Are there staff discounts? And is there a sense of belonging? Okay, so think about your vision, your mission, your values, and that will affect your business culture. Okay, it also involves how you communicate with the managers, behave and value their employees and their customers. Okay, and the culture will influence your policies and your procedures, so they're built around government legislation, but also things like zero tolerance for any aggressive behavior towards staff members, that sort of thing. The culture will affect the management style. So are they on first name terms, or is it all Mr. and Sir? Is there an autocratic or authoritarian style of management? So for example, in parts of Asia, that's common. Is it very paternalistic? Okay, do you have a dominant figure who treats people like members of their family? Okay, very common in countries like the UAE, so Arabic countries. Okay, but they do expect obedience, trust and loyalty in return. Now the culture will affect the structure of the workforce. So is there a hierarchical structure? So only a small number of people are really in charge? Or is it very autocratic? Okay, now that leads to speedy decision making. Autocratic style of leadership. Now this is to do with power and control. It's very authoritarian, but sometimes it can be appropriate. So for example, if something has to be done very quickly, or if the decision making has to be done quickly, this could be appropriate. Also in a life or death situation, so in the army, for example, in a war situation, but also when the workforce are very inexperienced or maybe perhaps a bit lazy. Now on the negative side, if you have constant orders to obey, it can cause a lot of resentment, particularly if the workforce are very skilled, very professional people, and they could otherwise offer very good ideas to the management if people show belief in them. This style tends to stifle creativity and reduce job satisfaction. Democratic style of leadership. Now this is where participation is invited, that you ask for people's ideas, you want their involvement in the decision making and the problem solving. So this can be very motivating for people, and it can develop new and emerging leaders. It's very good if the industry is very creative, such as advertising or IT, for example. Now on the negative side, it can slow down the decision-making process, and if you don't have experienced staff, then they may not be able to make a very good, useful contribution. Paternalistic style of leadership. Now this is where the leader is a very dominant father-like figure, and the employees are like his family. Okay, so they have to show obedience, trust and loyalty in return for that. Now, the staff tend to be very protected by their management, and there may well be a lifetime commitment from the employees as well. Laissez-faire style of leadership. Now, this is a very hands-off style where the staff are given free rein in their decision making. So think about Facebook, Microsoft, the music industry, where people have to be very creative and they're very professional people. So as I say, creative people, and they have to be very self-motivated as well. Now, on the negative side, productivity can be slow, and it could lead to a very inefficient workforce who lack clear job roles and boundaries, and it would not work with people who are unskilled or who are unmotivated. So just to summarize, so the leadership style, so authoritarian, it's very directive, you do as you're told. One guy at the top makes the decisions, and it's very focused on the task to be done. Democratic, there is open communication, you have a team leader, and the focus is much more on people. Laissez-faire is very permissive. The leadership team step back and let the staff get on with it, and the power is very much with the staff to make their decisions. There's also a style called bureaucratic, which is very insecure. The rules are very fixed and it's very impersonal, generally speaking. Transactional style of leadership. Now, this is getting the job done as smoothly as possible, following procedures. There are often financial incentives to motivate employees, and it's much more of a short-term fix where, to be effective, the leader will adopt their own style, their own behavior to suit the situation and the abilities of the employees. So think about a football manager. What players do you have available to you to suit your style of management? There are 4 different leadership behaviors to be called upon. These are participative, goal or achievement orientated, directive, and supportive. Transformational style of leadership. This is looking at the bigger picture and strategies to achieve the greater goal. So it's much more of a long-term strategy. The employees are very valued and they are pushed to aspire to greater things and to receive reward, financial but also non-financial, such as job satisfaction. Okay, this approach should develop future leaders. Okay, the leader will just demonstrate concern for the employees and looks to develop them as individuals and as a team. Okay, so the style is very common for a family-run business where everyone knows what's going on and how it's going to get there. Now, on the negative side, if you are so focused on the long-term goals, you might think about losing direction on the essential day-to-day activities. Charismatic leadership. So here, the leader uses their communication skills, their persuasiveness, their charm to influence others. He or she can often connect with people on a very deep level, and in a crisis they could be very, very valuable. So think about Winston Churchill, for example. Now, on the negative side, the style can be very unpredictable. So the staff don't know what's going to happen next. Rules and regulations may be ignored, and the style can be very stressful, exhausting, and sometimes very intimidating for the staff. The skills required to be an effective manager or leader. Now, these include setting objectives, motivating, decision making, team building, leading by example, consulting, problem solving, valuing and supporting others, managing conflict, building positive interpersonal relationships, using emotional intelligence, communicating and providing feedback. Business objectives. Now, these are short-term targets that you want to achieve in the first few months or the first year, and they need to be SMART, so specific, focusing on one target at a time, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-related. Stakeholders and their influence. Now, these are people who are directly affected by your business, so they could include the owners who've got views on what you should be doing, employees who've got opinions as well as legal rights, customers regarding price, quality, delivery, etc., Financiers, so anyone who lends or invests money in you and they will want their return. Suppliers, who want their payment promptly and in full. And also the local community. Guys, thank you for listening. Please could you subscribe and like, as it helps us to produce more and better videos like this in the future. Also, could you comment below what type of information you would like in the future as a guideline for us. Thank you again, guys, and see you all again soon.